of your local office. All right. We do a roll call.
Yes, sir.
All right. Roll call. President Everett is here. Myself, the secretary, I'm here. First vice, I don't see him at the moment.
He's in. He's in.
He's here?
Yes, at the top.
Okay, yeah, okay, he's here. All right. Second vice, Frank Shaw. No.
Frank's not here.
Lady President, Mama Earth, she's here. Sergeant at Arms, how you doing, sir?
Yes,
All right.
sir. I'm here, sir.
He's here. All right. Committee Chairman, Cameron Hopkins, he's
I'm
here.
here.
All right. What's up, brother?
All right, race first.
Race first, brother. Ambassador at Large, Ms. Charlene Foster. I think didn't I see her there today? No, she didn't see her there. Okay. Mr. Jamal Pullman, the Colonel of the African Legion. He is here. How you doing, sir?
Race first, family, race first.
Race first, brother.
Race first.
Agriculture Coordinator, Ms. Narcissa Davis. She is here. All right. We did our roll call, and I believe we got a couple other extra people in here. Okay. All right. We read the pledge. All right. Can y'all repeat after me? Did you want to read it, Mr. Everett?
I'm sorry, say that again, Brother Bruce.
Do you want to read the pledge, or did you want me to read the pledge, sir?
I could go over it if you like.
Yeah, you can go over it, sir.
All right, everybody, if you could unmute your mics, and if you have a flag, put your right fist in the air and look at the flag and repeat after me. I commit my body, mind, and spirit.
I commit my body,
Mind, and spirit.
To the protection, defense, and security
to the protection, defense,
Protection,
and
defense, and
security
security
of the red, black, and green.
of the red, black,
red,
and
black, and green.
I dedicate my life
I dedicate
Dedicate
my life
to the redemption of Mother Africa
to the redemption of Mother
Mother
Africa
Africa.
and the liberation of our scattered Black children.
and the
Liberation of
liberation.
children.
I accept for myself and my descendants
I accept for my
teachings of universal African nationalism
the teachings of
Teachings of universal African nationalism.
and I promise that our children will be instilled
and I promise
Promise that the children will be instilled
with the purpose and knowledge of themselves
with the purpose and
with the knowledge of
knowledge
themselves
as African people,
as
as
African
African people,
in order that the cause of our struggle
in order that
so that the cause of our struggle
neither falter nor fail
will neither
falter
fall
nor fail
until all Black people are free and united
until all black
all Black people are united.
through one God,
one God,
God,
aim,
one aim,
one destiny.
one destiny.
destiny.
Africa
Africa.
for the Africans,
For the
Africans,
those at home,
Those
those abroad.
and those
abroad.
Race first, family. Back to you.
first.
Race first.
First.
Race first.
Race first, brother.
Ladies first.
All right, we'll go over the old news. Old news. Orientation training has ended. The last review was what, tonight? No, that was last night, right? The orientation
African
training?
Legion, yeah, last night.
Yeah, okay. No, the orientation training.
You want to go over a little bit about the meeting, the African Legion meeting, real quick?
Yeah, I can do that,
I
definitely.
missed that.
Sir, say it again, sir.
I said I missed it.
Okay, the African Legion meeting, there were several topics that were brought up. One of the topics was with the, excuse me.
Homeland Security.
The uniforms, yeah. Did you wanna speak on that, Mr. Cameron, on the uniforms, your suggestion?
Yes, sir. So one of the topics, as he said, that was brought up was the uniforms. And as some of you may know, that's something that I had mentioned during my presentation and probably at some other point. And basically, the brother was saying, we need to have some type of uniformity as far as when we meet, that we need to all dress basically within the same clothes instead of looking like eyeballs when we get together. And my suggestion was that, or basically I made a few suggestions, but one of the ones that I suggested was that we should try to, as I stated before, try to look into getting some college students black college students who are already studying designer fashion or whatever the case may be, and trying to see if we can get them to create not create our uniforms, but to remake our uniforms for us. So let's just say if we buy the fabric, they already have the expertise as far as how to cut out the templates and how to sew it up properly. And we would just go to them, and then with the template or whatnot, or either have them look at the uniforms that we had in the past. We have images of them. Have them look at those images, or either take our template that we've created and have them create the uniforms for us. And that way, it would generate some money with them. It would also give them some insight of the UNIA, and with that, they will probably tell other people about it. And then at the same time, we will be able to get uniforms. And me, myself, and I'm pretty sure other people, they'd be, at least I'll speak for myself on this note. I'd be willing to pay $50, $60 for a uniform pair of pants, and also another $50, $60, maybe even a little bit more for a coat and a shirt to go along with it. And so my suggestion was, like I said, we could try to pay them $15, $20 an hour. They create the suits for us. We get what we want. They get what they want, and we also get some representation. And then another idea that I had, as far as if that just isn't feasible at the moment, is that instead of us going to them, which may be more feasible for most of our other members, because as we know, we're a lot more older people than younger people, and so maybe we can even look at going to a tailor, most credibly a black one if possible, and trying to get them to help us recreate the uniforms as they had in the past. And, doing the same thing as far as either, let's just say for the first one, we might pay them $500, $600 just for them to help us create a template. So that way we can create our own. And once we get the template, we can get the fabric and we can cut it out ourselves, and we could even sew it in ourselves. We don't have to employ somebody from outside the UNIA. The main thing is we need a template, and we need to know what fabric we need, and then we could kind of go from there. And so my suggestion with that was, like I said, we could go to a tailor. They could help us create a template, or at least recreate the look of the uniform. And then with that, we could try, if they recreated the uniform itself and not the template. Let's just say if they weren't open to that, then we could cut it up. We could cut it where the seams are, and we can create our own template from what they've already put together. And that would be another way that we could, at the very least, begin to start creating our own suits. And then my third and my last suggestion was, like I said, if that wasn't feasible as well, or at least not at the moment, then another thing we could do is we can look into, as for an example, this is not in stone, but just as an example, for the men, we could look at maybe getting some Dickie suits, like a Dickie pants or a Dickie top or whatever the case may be. The brothers, or I want to say maybe one or two of the other brothers, they even mentioned that instead of going Dickie, we're African over here. So Dickie is more of, if I'm not mistaken, that's a European brand. And so instead of us even going that route, we can look into going to the African shop and seeing if we can get some African black attire. And with it being, let's just say $10, $20 for a shirt, and $10, $20 for some pants or whatnot. And at the very least, that could be a base model from where we start before we're able to, like I said, employ the college students or go to a tailor and get that done. And basically to end it all off is, once we get a template made, we could do it ourselves. We could even create another role if need be as somebody who is the tailor. or they're in charge of the tailoring or the uniforms of the UNIA, at least for our particular branch or for every branch. And then they can be in charge of learning sewing, learning tailoring techniques, maybe even taking a class or two. And once one person knows, they could expand that knowledge onto somebody else. And then therefore we can not only can we create money for our division or other divisions, basically, with them doing it on their own, but we would also be able to get an opportunity to have our own uniforms. So like I said, I wouldn't mind, even if I had to pay $200 for an official uniform, like a wool uniform or something, that was like a recreation of what they had back then. Me personally, I think it would be worth it. I would have great pride in knowing that a Black person made it, the steps that we took to make it, and that it's a recreation of what we already had. So that was basically my thoughts and ideas on that.
Excuse me for the interruption.
Most definitely.
iPhone 3, could you identify yourself, please?
I believe that Amber, is that you, Miss Amber, on the iPhone 3?
Yes, it's me.
All right. That's a guest of mine, Mr. Anthony.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, other than that, if anybody had any questions, I guess, or comments, the floor is yours.
Hey, that's perfect, Mr. Cameron. That uniform suggestion is perfect, man. Especially with getting somebody to try to, getting African people to make that stuff, man. Design it, definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was a perfect suggestion last night when everybody was online, because that brought it right down to earth. Like, we can do our own uniforms and stuff.
That's right. Thank you, for that, Brother Cam. I appreciate it.
Yes, I actually had something I wanted to add to what Brother Cam was saying. As far as the uniforms, right? And Prez, man, you talked about it, and you actually sent me some photos of something you had in mind. Do you think maybe it's possible that we can maybe, like, as far as a group of individuals creating the uniforms, doing the stitching and everything, with however that process might go, probably like, for example, like, I don't know if this sounds right, but like write it off on maybe like as a nonprofit at the end of the year, and then that way we can have a way to at least see. The thing with that is we will have to get it started first, and then at the end of the year write it off to get the money back. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, because I'm not familiar with how nonprofits goes and things like that. But I know that we probably can write it off at the end of the year. Pay the students a certain amount of hour, pay for material and things like that, and then write it off at the end of the year, get the money back, and that's how we might can keep that momentum going.
Yes. My fault to cut you off, Brother Jamal. Our division is nonprofit, so we took care of that. But with any business, if we pay somebody to do something, since we are a business, we can write off that expense. So you are correct.
Okay, excellent. So I guess so. At the same time, right? Something else I wanted to add. Like I said, you sent me images of some of the uniforms that you had in mind. And I just wanted to bring, keep something, something very important. I wanted to, I think that all the clothes should be definitely tight fitted. Not, not like, tight, but tight where as though, nothing saggy. For example, with the Legions, just in case, anything can happen. You don't want your clothes snagging and, trying to maneuver and something happen. So I think whatever we do, the clothes definitely should be, fitted on us.
Mr. Jamal, that was one of the things somebody brought up last night, sir. They brought that up. Exactly. Different types of uniforms.
Right. Yes, sir.
Well noted, because in times of doing security, what have you, we want to make sure we're not getting snagged and we able to move freely. So I definitely agree. Well noted, Brother Jamal.
Okay. One more thing, Prez. Again, about those uniforms you sent me, we can't just buy those and patch our brand, who we are on ourselves.
Yes, we can. The uniforms, The uniforms I sent was just a mock-up of something we could wear till they figure theirs out. It's just something so we do an event, instead of waiting for everybody to decide something, I could get something so our members that are in the Legion and people that come to our events can know who security is and know that, you know, that we're good to go. So that wasn't anything permanent. You talking about like the shirt I made?
Not exactly the shirt. I think it was the ones you sent from a store, matter of fact.
Got you. Yes. So we can get somebody to do those and patch our own things on. So yes, we can definitely do that as well.
Excellent. Sweet. Yeah. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, and may I chime in on what you guys just said? Like you said, for people to identification purposes, it should have a patch or something on there that says, you know, like, you know, what you are, you know what I'm saying? If you're a security or whatever you are, you know what I'm saying? Like myself, it should say like either security or sergeant at arms. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I got you, definitely, to identify. It's also supposed to be, we'll go over that next meeting, because it's also some things that we need to show rankings for each African Legion member. So that is something that I'll pull from the Constitution out, and we'll start working on that. And I get that to you, Brother Cam, so you can get some, you know, the young people that have some ideas, you can try to get that together as well, as far as how the uniform should look.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, Brother Bruce.
Another thing that was mentioned in the African Legion meeting last night was the Black Cross nurses. There were several ladies that were there. They brought up the first aid of, you know, just basic first aid, life support, being able to treat somebody if they have certifications that they can teach individuals how to do and be able to know how to do basic life support and keep them triage stuff. And possibly in the future, they can get some people certified in the EMT roles. All right. So the Black Cross nurses can extend to a full-fledged unit that can actually, you know, go into different places and do some healthcare for individuals. Hopefully
Gotcha.
one day, you know, that sorry.
I'm sorry to cut you off. And I know Mama Earth had mentioned that she wanted to get some classes in, like CPR and stuff as well. She's running our Black Cross nurses now. And that's very important, especially after seeing that guy in the football game pass out, just like, you know, with a heart attack type thing. So that's something that we definitely need and make sure our members need to know as well.
Mr. Cameron got a actual telephone number, and I have it copied in my I copied the chat, and the lady, which is one of the head ladies of the Black Cross nurses, her number. So hopefully we can get the numbers into this division. I got to go through my files and I'll find it and get those numbers out and everything. So then that way we can get a little bit more cohesion going on to understand, you know, because she left herself open. I believe Cameron, didn't she put her email in the chat too?
Yeah, I have her email and her phone number, and her name is Sister Yasmin.
I got
so
it. Yes, Sister Yasmin, I got an email.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sister Yasmin, and there was another Miss Marcia. She was there too, and both of these ladies are certified to do healthcare and that type of sort, and that's very important for us. Then the last thing, one of the last things that was brought up was camping, having maybe monthly or every couple of weeks having a camping trip to bring people out to be able to get out and get some basic skills, maybe direction finding, maybe practice some of that triage stuff in a rural environment, being out in the woods, maybe fire starting, different things like that. The basic skills that most of us don't have maybe like purifying water with sand, dirt and stuff like that, you know, different types of soil can literally strain out water in case you meet up with some bad water, you know, those kind of deals. That will help in an urban environment too, because urban environments turn quickly into real bad areas, you know, real bad areas. We can look at Katrina. When Katrina happened, how folks weren't really prepared. They didn't have the basic necessities to be able to take care of themselves. So that was something else that was brought up, and hopefully we can get some type of camping trips going on, or getting out in the wilderness and doing things, maybe shoot some BB guns and some bows and arrows, stuff like that. All right. And we also have the officers training is still ongoing. The officers training is we're about to take a test. I think it's at the end of this month, sir. Was it the 27th or something like that?
For the officer training with Brother John?
Yeah, wasn't it? Isn't that we're gonna have a test pretty soon?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what chapter y'all
on. Chapter, I think the last one was wasn't societies. It was
don't stress it. It's on I wouldn't stress it. Yeah, I'll let everybody know.
Right. Okay, good to go. So we got the officers training. We got Brother Kabir Hadis podcast.
Oh, okay. I'll take that. Yeah, I interviewed one of our Philly brothers, Brother Kabir, from Philly. It's a nice podcast. If you guys like, I could drop that in the chat as well. Or I'll send it through the text so you guys can check it out through the group text. He has some powerful information. He's been around for a minute, so that was good to, you know, to hear his voice. I went to the town hall meeting, me and Sister Charlene, with Ivan Bates. They had the police chief there. Forgot who else was there, but the new state's prosecutor. And you know, it was a pretty informative. I don't like, Sister Charlene didn't like how they had everything set up though. It was in a church and they asked for people to write comments down, but the people weren't able to speak. Usually at town hall meetings, you know, you can voice how you feel or what's going on. In fact, one sister couldn't take it. She grabbed the mic and got up there and started speaking, and a brother took the mic from her. It was a little crazy, but you know, that went on well. So we want to keep in contact with Brother Ivan Bates and try to just, you know, stay in contact with him so we can hear what he's trying to do as far as not prosecuting young Blacks for small petty crimes, and finding ways to, you know, not prosecute, but finding alternatives to discipline. So I think that was a good idea, but we got to hold him to what he's saying. You know, a lot of people talk a lot of talk, but they don't fall through. Today there was the men's Unifying Black Men breakfast. I shared that on my Facebook. That's a lot of the top people in organizations and top brothers across the city and the state. They were speaking. And I always recommend, if anybody would like to go, the breakfast is free. They ask for donations, but you know, it's not mandatory, and we all go and build. And we're working on doing something in the near future because of the Baltimore City water bill. For some reason, it's going up real high. And you know, we want to make sure that we implement some things to let the city know that the people in the city are not happy with that. Kwanzaa events. I missed the Chicago event. I know that was via Zoom, so whoever made that could talk about that, but I made two ones. One was Black Men Unifying Black Men. Brother Leon did an event at a school that was powerful, and I'm not sure we talked about our DC event with our members in DC, and that was a powerful event as well. And today we had the Boss Entrepreneur Pop-Up Shop. So that also went well, nothing but Black entrepreneurs there. I had some fun, made a little money and spent a lot of money. So, you know, it's all good when we giving our community money. So that was all good as well. All right, Brother Bruce, new news. I guess I can start new news too.
Yes, sir.
For those that don't know, Keith Davis was freed and his charges was dropped. I put the link in the agenda. For those that we had that on our website as well about Keith Davis. He was prosecuted. I guess he was found innocent, but they wouldn't release him or something. I can't really remember the facts. Sister Charlene has been really passionate about fighting for this brother's freedom. The old state's attorney was making it personal. She wouldn't release him, but he finally got released today. So that was, I believe, yesterday. So that was good to go. Elections are up. Everything was the same. Our former lady president, Sister Narcissa, she has stepped down, and now she is going to take the role of our agriculture, Minister of Agriculture. Agriculture coordinator is the correct position. Our new lady president, now an official, will be Sister Yvette Mama Earth. Everything is still the same. First vice is Brother James. We are in need of a treasurer. I know Brother Dwayne mentioned second vice, so Brother Dwayne, you can talk about it later, or if you really want to take the position, if that is to be in effect, then Brother Frank will become treasurer, because we need a treasurer. I just got onto the bank account, so we're about to put this money in the bank, and so it's me and Brother Frank on there. He's already been dealing with a lot of the business and the money, so he could be good. He's fine with going to treasurer if we can get somebody to fill his role as second vice. The appointed positions are still the same. Brother Cam is appointed committee chair. Sister Charlene is appointed ambassador at large. Brother Jamal is appointed colonel of the African Legions, and sergeant at arms is still Brother Tony. So those are all the positions that as president I got to appoint. And I think that's all for elections. Black History Month, we're looking at having an event at the Harlem Theater. It's a historical Black-owned theater right across from Harlem Park School. Me and Brother Tony had went to look inside of it. I'm going to go meet with them today, this week, because they do have some issues with everything's not fixed up. But it's like a little Apollo in there. The theater is nice. So I want to have our meeting there, have an event there, have some Black entrepreneurs there selling merchandise and food and stuff like that. And we can have our meeting, give some awards, and we can actually have our officers sworn in as well. We're looking at the last Saturday in February. And we're going to call this the Black History 365 event, because I don't believe in Black History Month. We always say 365 and make that a theme. If anybody else would like to change that and think of another theme, go ahead. But I have to finalize some things before that's okay. Sergeant at Arms, you got your hand raised?
Yes, sir. I was just trying to chime in and say that whenever you're going, let me know, because I'd like to, that issue that you text me about, I need to go in there. I looked at it before, but at this time I don't remember what it looked like. I need some more details.
Yes, I got you. I'm going to meet sometime this week. So when I schedule, it's going to be during the day. So when I go, I will hit you up and we can go together.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, so we want to promote that historic event. It's a Black-owned family. They own actually the whole block, and they're trying to build. And that theater could be very important for us. As you know, the UNIA, we want to make sure that we support them and promote them, and make sure that they're given the best chance to succeed. So that's going to be phenomenal to do. I'm blessed, and hopefully we can make that happen. She has a couple of issues that she was worried about, so she wants us to look at it before we confirm it, but she definitely wants us in there February. So me and Brother Tony can go and look at it, see if we have any issues, see if we can make it work, and if so, that we'll text it out immediately that the events are going. We can start planning. Sister Charlene isn't here today. She just wanted me to mention.
Can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead, Brother Can.
And I'm sure that you may have already planned, but I was just gonna say, if you could, take some pictures whenever you get there. Even when you and the brother go there before the event, take some pictures of the area, the building, and maybe the inside, and maybe we can see about putting some type of marketing or advertisement together to try to help them, if that makes some sense. Even a few pictures and some words would help, I think. So I just want to throw that out there.
Definitely, I will. And it looks nice inside. Yes. I know they got a lot of work done to it, but it looks nice. And I think that is a phenomenal plan that could help us promote the building and definitely help us promote our event. Thank you, Brother Cam, for that.
Yes, sir.
So I mentioned Keith Davis already. Sister Charlene also wanted me to mention the Martin Luther King parade. They were going to cancel it. Looks like the mayor hold on, Brother Jay Rich, I see your hand raised. Looks like the mayor fired the person that was in charge of dealing with the parade. But that's gonna have the parade, so I get some information and send that out via text. And also when we it was me, Sister Charlene, and Mama Earth, we went to protest the gas station where all the killings were being held at. That gas station reopened right after we left. They're trying to get what they call a padlock law so they could shut it down. There's a lot going on where they saying the business owner, what I heard, the business owner has been calling, I'm not sure, but it's still open. And so I'm gonna put something in the chat as well about what's going on with that gas station. Go ahead, Brother James.
Excuse me,
Go ahead,
President Everett. I was at my community meeting yesterday, and the new chief or new that has the station over there by Morgan, he came and said that they are working with that gas attendant, and he's and I even know the person that's putting up his security. So they said instead of pushing him out, they said they're working with him to one, he's updating the cameras. Two, and he's listening to what the neighborhood is requesting. So they're not trying to push him out. If he doesn't adhere to it, then they'll go after him. But right now they're giving him an opportunity to fix it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Brother James, go ahead.
Going back to the theater. The Malcolm X drummers that was at the Kwanzaa event. I think that it would be huge for us to get DC involved and see if they can come up and be a part of whatever it is that we do, because they have like a really big following. But that the Malcolm X, you remember the Malcolm X drummers?
Yeah.
I forget it was, yeah, man. They were fire. Get them. And I know it was another one from like our very first event at that one park over close by Kevin that we did, and there was some drummers that came there as well, drummers and dancers that came there as well. There was the young females that was doing like the spoken word. I'm just thinking, you know what I mean, of different like people that we can all collaborate from different parts of like the city and even DC that we can get to come in, you know what I mean, to push, you know what I mean, Black History 360, you know what I mean, event. I think that would be powerful.
And I'll reach out to those. I don't know if you guys saw, I shared it on Facebook, the Kwanzaa event that I went to. They had some drummers from Baltimore and like some kids, so that would be good too. But yeah, definitely I'm reaching out to DC. I like and that's Brother Amamu's group, so I definitely can reach them as well. Oh, by the way, Sister Charlene just sent me an email. I don't know if you guys got it. And this is from Sergeant Hart T from the Northeastern Police District. And he would like to speak to us in reference to concerns about the BP gas station. So a police officer did respond to her. And so that's good to go. And now we know that we can, you know, reach out and build a relationship there and hopefully address some of the needs for the community and get them involved as well. And I think that is all of new news. Am I missing something? We're about to start our own orientation soon. I'll let you know the details of that as it goes through. So I know a lot of people can't make the main orientation, which is very college. It's like college-like. But we're going to do I don't want to say a dummy down, but more simplified where we can get the basics in. That'll be good for all new members so they can get some of the basics out the way. And I'll try to invite some other speakers like President Maru and some other people that would like to help go with that orientation. And we're going to have a children's book reading next month as well. I'll have more details as we meet as the officers and set that planning up. So if you know any young kids that would like to read one of our UNIA books, teach me about Malcolm, the Red, Black, and Green, who Marcus Garvey is, and so forth. We have about 5 of them. What I'm going to do is make a presentation like via PowerPoint where they can all see it and we can select each one of them to read it. Afterwards, after the presentation, they will receive, after the reading, and we ask them a few questions, we want to give all of them certificates. And I think that would be another way to bring in some people for the event, is to have the kids get their certificates or accept their certificates during our event. So that's something as well.
And you said, pardon me, brother, and you said when is that going to be? I might look at trying to get my daughter to be one of the participants.
When we have our next officers meeting, brother Cam, we're going to set that date.
Okay.
So you can help me with that, selecting the day.
All right, just keep me updated.
I got you covered.
All right.
And I think that was pretty much it. And let me make sure, I think our guest speakers, let me see if he's still on. Brother Haki, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Greetings to you all.
Greetings, my brother. I'm so blessed to have you on today. Before you begin, just introduce yourself to the people and tell them a little bit about your background, and then you can go on.
Certainly. Well, thank you, brother Everett. And I do know a few. I see a few friendly names and friendly faces there. So, of course, members of the UNIA are friends to African people. So, I'm brother Haki Ammi, from the Baltimore area, born and raised in Baltimore. Shall I say I left Baltimore a little early in my life. I went into the military, into the Navy, attempting to free my mind on some levels, just understanding when many grow up in urban environments, we may not necessarily have the level of family structure to, I would say, have that level of awakeness or consciousness or being healed. So, realizing I needed to get away, I thought that was an opportune strategy at that time. So came back to Baltimore. I wanted to serve my people, serve my community, and I have done that in many different ways. I actually got truly conscious and aware during that time before, but as I continue to study and see the conditions of Black people, it certainly inspired me to become more awakened and conscious of what's going on. So, I read a significant amount of books that most of us don't know exists on many different topics. And being a student of history, of course, we come across the work of Garvey. And I had the pleasure to actually, I hosted a radio program it's been some years ago on Harambe Radio. And I came on right after the former president of the UNIA. He was the ninth successor of Brother Senghor Bae. So I think he was on 6 to 7 and I came on 7 to 8 for 3 or 4 years. And so later on, he's out of DC. I think he's definitely still there. And later, I was a member of Division 330 for some time. So the good brothers and sisters are still there. Sister Aquia there in DC. So, but I worked in DC. I used to live in Brandywine as well as Bowie. So, but I've been in the Baltimore area, as well as up and down the East Coast, marketing books and, having lectures, as well as, doing regular community service, public work, just working as the vice president of my community association and assisting some different, individuals that I thought had good political sense that could represent us on different levels. But with that being said, I always knew that, I was African and realized that I don't foresee and I recognize the limitations of power in America. So although previously I did not necessarily travel to Africa, I always supported those that did. I supported many of the scholars, for instance, that, give trips to Egypt and or, the western parts of Africa, as well as my Nana, which is in the Khan tradition. Nana Akuia is actually here, still doing work. So Akuia is in LA, Akua, however, it's those that speak free. But for the most part, I am currently still the president. I'm now the president of the Teaching Artists Institute. And I came on board possibly about 3 years ago when we went to Tanzania, actually. And we took maybe, a handful of young people as well as adults. But the mission was to build a network in the East African region. Many individuals know that in East Africa, for instance, there are many Swahili speakers and many know of the work of Julius Nyerere. So it was very tactful for me at that time. And it was actually during COVID that we still traveled to Tanzania to have a conference. It was the Artisan Conference, the 4th annual Artisan Conference, Teaching Artists Institute. And Teaching Artists Institute was founded by Sister Kim Poole. It's a sister in the Baltimore area. She's done some tremendous work in many different parts of Africa. So I came on board, and I think we had probably about 15 people from not just in the United States, but the diaspora that traveled with us to Tanzania. And just a key point, there were a significant amount of Africans in the diaspora that traveled to Tanzania during that time. President Magufuli, may rest in peace, was I would say a very conscious Pan-Africanist. On some levels, he kept the doors open for individuals to come to Tanzania during that time. And so we took advantage, and what we discovered was that there were many other Africans that left the United States and other places and went to Tanzania during that time. And another reason perhaps that many individuals went to Tanzania was perhaps the questionable election of would Donald Trump actually win the election during that time. So one thing that the Teaching Artists Institute have been working with artists, not just, shall I say, artists, performers, et cetera, but not just from for art's sake, but those that are engaged in community work and consciousness raising, because that's our mission to discover, for instance, the Falas in Africa, Miriam Makeba, if you will. So to raise up and utilizing what access that we have, our knowledge, our skills, our money that we have to capture and empower some of our brothers on the continent. And so we've done that. And last year, so that was 2020. Last year, we had our conference in South Africa, as well as we did some tours in Tanzania. But we had a conference in South Africa, Artisan. And then this year, we just went to Kenya for the first time. So we had some very powerful connections and to some of the artists there. And many people may not know Tanzania, or shall I say Bagamoyo, as well as Zanzibar. That was part of the East African slave trade. Many do not have the opportunity to even, speculate or realize that, the whole dynamic of the Arab slave trade. But, in Bagamoyo is the ground zero for that. So with that being said, the Teaching Artists Institute, we're working in 8 countries, but as many of you know, charity still begins at home. And so one of the things, because there's a lot of debate, many of you are online and you see these different groups pop up every few years, different, shall I say, anti-African propaganda tends to pop up. And, the reality is that we are unique here in the United States. I mean, there are some unique dynamics and circumstances that we have to deal with, but ultimately we have to have a level of unity. And I say that in the context that we only represent what, some say 40 to 50 million. There is going to be limitations to power in the United States of America. And I see it in a political space where individuals have to appease and appeal to white voters for access to resources, to other businesses and jobs and things of that nature. And so ultimately for myself, and I knew that, for years, I said, we are definitely going to have to partially repatriate or at least have the partners to create these enterprises, these allies. And so recently, and I'll, take some questions, but recently we had the opportunity, there was the U.S.-Africa Trade Summit. Well, it was called the U.S.-Africa Leadership Summit, where 49 African presidents came to the United States. They met with President Biden. And my idea, for instance, was, look, we're not going to be able to talk to every president, but many of them have delegations of individuals. And so it is tactful and strategic for many of the Pan-Africanists should have been like on the ground in DC. We never know who we're going to meet there. There could be some, however you feel, Kwame Nkrumahs, if you will, that, or the Mugabes, if you will, who may be young in the delegation of these different presidents that may have some, small position, but they were able to come to the United States. And many of them come with their African consciousness, and they're interested in meeting Black people here. And so for the most part, the last time that some African diplomats came collectively was in 2014, I believe, when President Obama was the president. So not to, we know that there are definitely neo-colonialism, and just like here in America, many of the individuals that are in position are propped up by white interests. What I speculate is that, we have to seize the time, if you will, and seize opportunities. And so for us connecting to some of the Africans that came was a significant moment in our history, and it was significant for the Teaching Artists Institute to be present there. But one of the things that we, Teaching Artists Institute, Sister Kim has established a relationship with SRDC for quite some time. And I know I have, certainly the SRDC. Many of you know the 6th Regional Diaspora Caucus. I believe Dr. David Horn, he is the international president of the UNIA. I believe, if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that he still is the international president. But the FRDC was present with us, sort of like a brother-sister organization, where we had meetings as well as a conference in DC during that time. And so we were very excited about the connections that we had there. But we also, one of the things, and I'll just say 2 more particular things. We did go to Ethiopia. It was more SRDC this year, 2022, SRDC, and we went to the African Union, had some conversations, as well as this year, we were the first, SRDC had a conference in Panama, and we were the first delegation to be present. I think I wrote about that in the National Black Unity newspaper, one of the articles. I write for the National Black Unity newspaper, and Brother Everett, thank you for mentioning about the breakfast this morning, and the National Black Unity newspaper. I think you may have wrote an article as well, but when we went to Panama with SRDC, we were the first delegation. They just had a Garvey statue in Panama. So we were the first international delegation present to see that. Dr. Horn, Brother Cliff here in Baltimore, strong, conscious Garvey brother who has done tremendous work over the years with his Kumba reports, as well as organizing on, some operational unity. So between those operations, Tanzania, we have some significant amount of tours and investment tours coming this year, as well as an elders retreat. We have elders in our organization. We don't call them board members. They're elders, Thai elders. And so, but also we will be traveling to Zimbabwe this year, possibly in April, but definitely for a Teaching Artists Institute conference in November. But one of the things I want to mention, and just kind of going back, and I'll begin to close. Let me, somebody do a little wave if I'm going too long. But one of the things that, as I mentioned, how there are these divisions between, created divisions between the anti-African forces in our own community, and even some Africans that may in fact have some bias, and biases are fine, but we can't reach a point where we having these tribal, hostile discussions where people are alienating each other, because that, it works on behalf and for our enemies' isolation tactics of Black people here in America. So we cannot allow for these FBA and ADOS groups to destroy that level of unity with due respect. So with that being said, one of the things that we created, for instance, with the Teaching Artists Institute, and I know you perhaps got a flyer earlier today, is that the reality is that it's possible that some Africans that may have that may be in the United States now, they don't know the history of Black people. They don't understand and or appreciate it. So what we are doing, and what we will do for the next few years, is have, outside of our tours in Africa, which we probably have taken about 60 people over the past 3 years, 60 to 70. But we have been doing and having our what we call Freedom Rising. We started that last year, and last year we had 31 young people. That went through 10 states with us. And this year we perhaps may go to 9, but we're taking a different route. But one of the strategies outside of the young people, one of the strategies, for instance, is for us to have continental Africans to go on that trip to see and learn and understand and appreciate the internationalism, for instance, of the civil rights movement on some levels, and we have to be those of us, for instance, that understand, or even in Dr. Amos Wilson's in his Blueprint to Black Power, he was able to dissect those aspects of the civil rights movement that were well-intentioned, but may not necessarily been executed properly. So with that being said, I feel that, and I'll close and say, we have a very dual strategy, but understandably, Black people in America have limited power. And I don't, even with a Black governor in the state of Maryland, which, sometimes you should, you praise and you, applaud different things, but, ultimately there's going to be limitations to that. And we, as African people, ultimately have to look at the unification of Africa as our standard for our achievement and our goals. And so we hope to, work in operational unity with the UNIA Baltimore chapter, and, let's do this work, on a local basis as well. And I'll close again, I'm sorry. And Dr. Horn, and just a heads up, Brother Carl Nelson, I'm an unofficial, he's on a local radio program here in the Baltimore area, but he's not from Baltimore, he's from Florida, but, his show is DC and Baltimore. But, I've been one of his, promoters and connectors to different scholars, thinkers, organizers, grassroots brothers and sisters in the Baltimore market since he's been here. But he'll be here in February. I would love for you all to come out to meet him. He'll be at the Black Men Unifying Black Men Breakfast, but he's had some of our conscious giants on over the past few years. But I think I kind of gave a good glimpse of what we are doing. I hope I didn't talk too long. I didn't time myself. But if anybody had any questions, comments, if I said anything to offend anybody, blame it on my head, not my heart, because I love African people. So thank you.
No problem.
Yes, sir.
Raise the hand real quick. Hold on real quick, Brother Cam. I got you. I'll make you first. See Brother Bruce. So Brother Cam and Brother Bruce, and everybody can raise your hand if you can use the hand raiser. Brother Haki, talk a little bit about your books real quick, because I know you didn't mention the books you have where they can purchase your books. And then if on another note, could you just add how we could bridge the gap between us Africans here and the Africans over in the motherland to, stop a lot of the animosity and things of that nature so we could be one. And then after he answers, Brother Cam, jump on it.
Thank you, certainly. Well, definitely. I would say go to my website, successscholarhaki.com. And so I wrote a book, I co-authored a book with Les Brown and Dr. George Frazier, motivational speakers. And, one of the things that as it relates to Garveyism, my favorite book, the white one, I'm sorry, somebody tell me what's the white one? The white one, the white and blue one.
Message
the one,
people.
Right. And that's where he was instructing individuals. Senghor was sharing with me what it was, where he was, in the school, the teaching. I think he taught some people.
Sorry to cut you off. We use that as our officers training. Message to the people, of course, in African philosophy.
Right. Thank you very much. But just understanding, I do on some levels believe that, and my book, I believe that we have choices, we have power, we can change our thoughts, right? And I believe that unfortunately many of us, we've allowed for propaganda to control our thinking and to become European on many levels. And so we have to, you know, practice de-whitenization and re-Africanization all at the same time. And so I would hope that, with my book, it's more of me just giving, some historical context for myself. It's like a personal testimony, if you will, because many people may not believe, where I come from in the streets of Baltimore. So I just, it's just like me manifesting my ultimate purpose. And so it's along the inspirational, motivational line, but it's also a blueprint for transformation. I talk about how, for instance, how for 11 years, I read 100 books a year for 11 years on multiple different topics. And, that totally freed me from anything and everything. It's like, I question everything. I don't have any solid, European training I've totally de-whitenized myself and re-Africanized myself. So, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but, I understand good enough what has happened to us as a people. So I'll say that. But your second question in terms of building, relations with, Africans as well as Black people here. Hold on. Okay. With building relations between Black people here, I would say we have to find and create the right allies, because let's just be real. Not all Africans are going to come here and just be our friends, right? But we still have to be intentional about an outreach. We have to be intentional about our work as well as intentional about recruiting, right? I sincerely believe. So with that being said, there are different African institutions that are out here that, we need to somehow be a part of, right? Or at least have a level of operational unity with them that are at least striving to do something. Now, understand this, many of them, they haven't necessarily had the level of access to, a lot of the information that we, as conscious Black people here have had. And it's going to be a little different, the type of consciousness, shall I say. So ultimately, we have to have a level of humility with our sharing, but also we have to, re-educate on many levels and have them understanding how their colonial mindset has damaged them as well. So, but we have to be tactful in our cross-cultural, because many of them still, they see themselves as, I'm Nigerian, I'm Ghanaian, A, B, or C. So we have to have a level of respect for that, but also to sort of bring them into an appreciation. So, and I can't say I have all the solutions for that, but I certainly believe that when they see, for instance, the freedom rides and what has happened to many of us, for basic human liberties and human rights, they will, have a level of respect for us that it's not taught to them. So, thank you.
All right, brother. I just want to say I appreciate you being here, and you seem like you have a wealth of knowledge, so thank you. I have two questions, and I'll lead with the first one, and then I'll let you answer, and then I'll come along with the second one, if that's all right.
Sure.
As far as the first one goes, my question, you spoke about delegations coming from Africa, and like you said, Kwame Nkrumah, he was a person that came over here. He learned things and then he went back and then he made it happen. And my question to you is, in the 20th century or in the 6,000th century or however you want to look at it, where we're at now, how would you attempt to vet the members or a member that comes from Africa in such type of delegation from, being one who is brothers with the colonizer versus one who is opposed to the colonizer? How do you feel like we as individuals could attempt to vet them in that regard?
Well, this is where, I think, we got to look at our history, and honestly, we got to have like education camps, like, that's real. And it's like, we don't necessarily have a government, and in a context that we don't even control the education on some levels. So first and foremost, I would say, having the right books and the right educational material becomes essential, as well as the network of people, because ultimately we need the griots. It's going to have to be, certain things are going to have to be stored in our mind so that we could be the shall I say, the givers of knowledge, if you will, so that individuals who we know may not have had that level of knowledge, because again, the resources are limited. They don't have access to all of these books that, some of us have access to. Libraries, Liberia, and that's one of the things that SRDC has been working on. Liberia hasn't had a public library ever. So, in the 21st century. And so we're still understanding that there are limitations for that. So ultimately, one of the goals that we have is, well, bringing books there. And I always, when I, travel there, and I'm always, you got to reach people where they are, I believe. So if they, are familiar with Garvey or familiar with, like many of them are. Well, in Tanzania, it was shocking. They know about Bob Marley. They know about Muhammad Ali. Because I did a little survey with a lot of students one time. I said, y'all know Marcus Garvey? Y'all know, it was about 50 students. And they know, who I'll say, they knew Muhammad Ali and they knew Bob Marley. So it's like, wow, and so we have to be able to assess like where they are, for instance, and attempt to engage them where they are. Who do they know, right? Familiarity breeds, assimilation or a type of connectedness with them. So I think trying to get a good understanding, and then the language barriers, and that can be an issue as well. And so that's why ultimately I start a Swahili class tomorrow to keep building. I carry a Swahili dictionary with me. It's the second, matter of fact, no, the most spoken language in Africa, actually. So 150 million speakers of Swahili, and mostly eastern part of Africa. So I'll say that. So thank you. If I hope was there a second part to that question, brother? And I'm here as long as y'all need me.
No, but to be honest with you, I guess my core thing was just like, for me, for an example, let's just say if I went to DC and we had, a delegation from Africa or whatnot, and I wanted to go up and talk to one of them. I guess my core thing would be, how would I be able to vet them in your eyes? How would I be able to see whether they're a sellout or whether they're really for Black empowerment? You know what I mean? Like, I guess asking them questions, and if that makes any sense. And honestly, this is a very broad question, so
Right.
you won't be able to give me like an exact answer, but I guess I'm just
Yeah.
looking for your idea on how you would kind of approach it.
Right. Well, and ultimately, we got to understand that many of them, they may not have had interactions with, Urugu as many of us have. You see, so they may not, although they, I mean, and I don't want to pretend like they're ignorant, but it's just like they don't see oppression. And even for me, I tried to listen to people like Renoko Rashidi, who has traveled extensively. And so we have to be able to listen, but also use our own interactions. But understanding that may not be as angry, shall I say, as many of us. And honestly, this is why, perhaps, Europeans and other people want them, in some places. Y'all not like these angry Black people here. So, I believe that that's, a thing that we have to understand, and you have to be able to, I feel, have that delicate balance, because ultimately, many of them, it's about survival. They're just trying to survive, so they don't have time to be thinking about the global issues that we are philosophically discussing. They just how do I eat? How do I work? How do I get money? What skills I need? I want to go to school. So ultimately, meeting people where they are, and that's even what the Black Panther Party was attempting to do. But that's ultimately what we have to look at. But thank you for your question, brother.
Yes, sir. And what, if I could, I had a second question, and I think that this would be a pretty short one for you as well. And I just want to say I appreciate the time you've given me right then, very much. All right, my second question is, as far as repatriation goes, what viable options do you see as being open to us other than Sierra Leone and Ghana right now? I know you mentioned that, so that's all I know of is Sierra Leone, and my understanding of Ghana is that they claim that they're doing repatriation, but they're not really doing much at all, to be honest with you. 100 people is nothing. So, that's my question to you, brother.
Right. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Sierra Leone, it's like the only country that's given dual citizenship. And I think many people, I know SRDC is really pushed on Liberia, and actually we have a strong relationship with the Minister of Culture she was the former Minister of Culture from Liberia. But no, it's interesting. So Ghana, of course, there's 8,000 repats that are currently in Ghana. And of course, many of you know about the year of return in 2019. I believe it was, somewhere like 500,000 Black people went there. So people are still going to be curious. I haven't personally gone to Western Africa. I felt that, there were enough people doing that. But, we during this recent U.S. Africa summit that we had a summit ourselves outside of the what these presidents and all these other people were doing. And so we were able to meet with some of the Gambian delegation. And so we have some strong inroads there that the founder, Kim Poole, has created. And so we were able to expand on those experiences, and that we're tremendously excited about. Some major developments have come about that put us on a different level. So we're going to figure some things out with that. But definitely appreciate those questions, and we can talk. I can give out my contact information and hope to get a better answer if possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And,
thank you, brother.
And brother Cam, brother Haki is right on Liberia. For those that don't know, our President General now, his brother-in-law is the president of Liberia. And the UNIA, when they did their trips to Africa, the first stop is Liberia. And the last I checked, I just text him. So brother Cam, if he gives me that information, I'll verify it. But the last time I checked, they were granting citizenship for everybody that went over there on that trip. So he is correct with the Liberia as well.
Yeah, please keep me updated because I would love to, go back to home. So I appreciate it.
Me too. I'm trying to get on that trip as well. All right, I see Brother Bruce, then Mama Earth, and Sergeant Arms. I think you had your hand raised. Let me know. Go ahead, Brother Bruce.
Thank you, sir. How you doing, sir?
All right, Brother Bruce. Keep
All right.
along. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had a question. You said something about investments, and you were going on investment tours or something to that effect. What are some of the investment tours that you're talking about that folks could get involved in?
Well, certainly. Thank you. And so coming up, we actually have a sister that she first repatriated to Tanzania in 2020, I believe, right when COVID. She said she's seen enough of America, and she went to Tanzania. But now she's in Rwanda, and we've been to Tanzania 5 times, and Kenya just recently. But she's in Rwanda, so. Earlier in 2022, I went to an East African Chamber of Commerce conference after I left Panama, I went to Dallas. And so the sister wanted to put together a investment tour. I mean, we did one to Tanzania last year, I believe, or it was 2021. But this year, in October, October 11th, through hold on, let me see when the dates of this is. Hold on. October the 11th through the 22nd, I believe. We will be in Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. So, or for those that are interested, whichever one. Yeah, that's it, the 11th through 22nd. So we have a family, a couple, a conscious brother and sister that have experience in both countries. And so they building their institution building, their community building. And so, that's, I would say, let's talk about that. Let's, consider joining us. Teaching Arts Institute has, Sister Kim and our elders have tremendous experience, even with people that have gone or would like to go, but be a part of the delegation to explore the Eastern Africa experience. Many people have gone to South Africa over the years, but our brothers and sisters in East Africa treat us like family as well. And I feel that many of them, as a form of strategicness, we need to connect with the principles of Kwanzaa with them, and it's a relatable thing for them as well. So, but yeah, brother, let's build on that. Love to send you some more information on that, and send a delegate if you can. But we would love to have one of you or a few of you come with us.
Okay, so you're saying it's a tour from the United States or already over there to Tanzania, Kenya, and Rwanda on October 11th to the 22nd.
Correct. Yes, sir, brother.
Right.
Yes.
Does it have a name? Does it have a name or anything like that? Or
Evelyn Investment Tour, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's the sister's company, and that's the name of her investment company in Rwanda. So yeah. Sister Swatara is her name.
You have a number or anything, sir?
Say that again.
Did you have a phone number or an email address I could get?
And we have what's called interest meetings, and if I can, I'm gonna get you all, possible, we want to be able to send out something if possible. We can send you the interest meeting that we had. It's on our YouTube, and we can send, have you look at that. But we would love to, set up a call with, myself, you, and Kim, or whomever may be interested. So we would love to, make that connection.
Okay. Do you need my number or?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. 380 710 8018.
$801. All right, Brother Bruce, appreciate that, brother. We'll do.
All right.
We'll reach back out to you.
Sure. I'm always
fix this?
interested in the things that are going on in Africa, you know, because I can pass the word on to other people, you know, that might want to invest themselves, you know.
Oh, yes, sir, for sure, definitely. And, you know, that's how we have to work. Not everybody, you know, is able to go due to time or resources, but, you know, collectively, you know, we sometimes it's like a trainer thing, but, you know, we have to build somewhere, and ultimately America is not, you know, there's limitations to the power here. So we have to definitely consider that. So thank you, Brother Bruce. We'll be giving you a call for sure.
Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate
All
it.
right. All right.
Yeah.
Lady President, Mama Earth.
Peace and love, family. I thank you. I'm thanking Haki for bringing his knowledge, his wealth of knowledge to us.
I think I know her.
Yeah, I know you. I
Right.
want to thank you so very much. Me and Haki met some years ago when I did my first event at the Why Not that, I believe.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, and that's how, and I'm amazed how the universe aligns us, you know,
Right.
aligning our people together to share the wealth of knowledge and also guide one another, because I need guidance. I basically took anything that I've ever known and threw it aside so I can be, you know, more effective by putting new and more vibrant water in my well. So I thank you. So will you be holding classes on or some type of information? Where's the process to be able to go back home? Because I've never been out of this country. My family is from Jamaica. I have never been there. So my mom died when I was 17. I have never been to Jamaica, and I definitely want to go, but I just want to know the process of how to be able to go over to the motherland. So would you be able to share that information? And we're friends on Facebook and other platforms, so you can send that information to me.
Okay.
And I also agree with you with the training in the educational camp. We can never have too many of that. We definitely need to be having training and educational camps on every aspect, from training to survival to training for a language. Sometimes we might have to use another language to express ourselves so that the adversary, I would say, won't know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? To develop our own language. So I just, you know, I thank you for coming on here and good to see you again.
Yes, good to see you. Thank you. Thank you all. Indeed.
Sergeant at Arms, did you have your hand raised, Brother Tony?
I think he's muted.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. I was listening about, you know, I mean, I don't want to sound negative, but I was listening to about the disconnect between certain Africans and African Americans. I just wanted to say that I'm from Jamaica, right? And is I'm sometimes frustrated with my fellow Jamaicans because a lot of them don't they don't see like what the civil rights struggle is about and all that kind of stuff. They don't, their ideology is like, oh, the civil rights struggle is the African American thing. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? And I get very frustrated with them, man, because they're not, a lot of them they're not trying to understand that we all Africans. You know what I mean? Just like you said, some of the Africans say, "Oh, I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Kenya." This is the same thing. Oh, I'm from Jamaica. You know what I mean? And you know, there's quite a few of them that, oh, I don't want to go to Africa. I was born in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to put that out there.
Race first, yeah, that's definitely an issue I see a lot.
Not to cut you off, because a lot of people, a lot of people outside of Jamaica, they have a misconception, because you know, you got people like the great Bob Marley that came out of Jamaica, Burning Spear, a lot of international artists that are Pan-African, and you know, and was singing the praises of Africa in their songs. So a lot of people's misconception is, oh, them Jamaicans, they down with it, but not all. Not quite a few of us, but not all.
Well, absolutely. I'll just speak briefly, brother. And you know, I just quote Garvey to everyone, and I just say I'm not giving up a continent for no island. I mean, and that goes for the United States too. So, you know, people can sit here and you know, have a small mind about you know, our condition, and you know, that's how they want to keep us divided. But you know, ultimately, I think that we just have to stay with the teachings, and you know, just it may not be a lot of us, you know, that's real, but you know, you don't need everyone to get and to be effective and to do the work that we need to do for liberation. So that's what I'll just say.
I mean, for sure, Garvey himself said that, you know, he wasn't looking for to take all Black people to Africa, because they're no good here and they'll be no good there. I like to use that. I use that as a needle to stick them with. Yeah. You know, so you know, I let a lot of people know that, look, you know what I'm saying, you know, you probably you're not good here, so don't get it twisted and think that, you know, we're looking for all Black folks to go back to Africa. Don't get it twisted. Race first.
Race first.
Race first. Thank you. Yes, sir, brother.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Brother Haki before we let him go?
I'm not going back to Africa. Okay.
Yeah, I had one more thing.
Sure.
I think it's like almost like a conscious effort to separate African Americans from Africa. And you know, all these people pretending to be everybody wants to be Indian and we indigenous. Nobody up in this camp right here anymore. I mean, I meet very few now that even just opening up, because I'm cool like that. I'm cool. I'm the dude you can give a high five with, and then they just go ahead and spit it out. But we ain't African. We indigenous. Now that's the whole movement now. We indigenous, we're not African. It's like a movement right now. And it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous because they don't want to claim to be anything other. And you know, a lot of these folks, they're not race first, or they don't even consider you your brother no more. It's like a mentality of just individualism here in this country now. I feel you, brother. I definitely feel you.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
You have a book list of books that you've read. You said you read 100 books a year?
Right, for like 11 years.
You got a book list or something like that hidden somewhere?
I had a few of them. I can reach back. I put my number in there. If everybody, please text me if you want to be in touch. Like, text me your number with your name so I can lock you in. So sister, let me just answer. Sister Davis says she'll visit, but she may not live there. Well, ultimately, that's.
I would never live there. My mother's here. My mother's 73. I would never leave where I would never go there just to visit. but not to stay there, not to grow a business, nothing like that. Because I think what I want to do is grow it here and leave legacy here, where I was raised and where my family is. So that's how I think about it.
Understand. Yeah, understood. What I'm seeing, I'm just seeing Black people's power and level of respect continues to diminish here. And ultimately, there's going to be a crossroads on some levels of how much level of respect you are going to take. Like, so, and I'm not, saying that everybody going to have to go or should go all the time, but, like we said, visiting, supporting, start with that. I'm still here for now, but, I certainly plan to be present more. I feel that, thinking and studying the work of Garvey, we got to plan long term. And ultimately, I don't feel that the power here in America is very, it's superficial. The political power, the economic power, and ultimately, in order to get respect in this society, Africa's going to have some power. So, and I say whatever individuals can, because we do have certain particular benefits here, for instance, but, it's not aggregated into true power. So, and this is where organizations like this that can have a balanced understanding can contribute to different causes, here as well as on the continent. So, we still do our civil rights tour here. We wanted to bridge that gap as well as teach young people, that we do have a history of fighting here. So, I'm not, I can't take away from our history here, but, these little superficial lines and boundaries are European anyway. But, we have to deal with that as well. So thank you.
I know a lot of people that I know that went over there, they say they got to go back. They got to go back. So that's definitely interesting. But go Brother Jay Rich, you had your hand raised. First right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Raise first. Thank you, brother, for coming on. I'd just like to address one of the questions that was asked. Brother Bruce asks, do you have a book list? 100 books a year for 11 years? Yeah, Bruce, you just walk into the library and grab a book. The brother read everything. A book list. He probably got a shorter list of books he didn't read. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm looking forward to meeting you on this next breakfast, man. And I want to actually, whenever you got time, man, to sit down and see how we can recruit, man, young Black minds in the Baltimore area, man. We have to be able to have a plan, man, to reach out, man, to reach the youth. Because believe it or not, man, even though I know, like you're working with cats that's coming over here, man, there's so many people, man, so many, not only young, but old, man, that don't really understand our history here in this country. And I'll give you an example. Me and my uncle drove out to Cincinnati, and we went to, they have the Underground Railroad Museum in Cincinnati. It's owned by Jews. There were more whites in the museum than there were Black. Man, at one point, me and him looking around, we were the only two Black people, in certain sections of like the museum. And when you look, they had actually brought a whole like slave quarters into the museum and had it there. And I'm not even going to sit here, man, and lie to you, man. I sat there and I just cried, man, because you looking at this structure, and all you see are chains nailed to the floor that they hook them to make sure that they can't run at night. And I'm like, man, people don't understand how deep this thing really is, man. And when you start going through it and you see that Cincinnati was like, I'm not going to go through like a whole little history list, but Cincinnati was supposed to have been a free town. You know what I mean? But it didn't stop people coming over the bridge from Kentucky to grab blacks and then send them right down the, you know what I mean? Send them right down the river, you know what I mean? Down south and sell them, even though they were in a free town. We were never really free, you know what I mean? But this type of history, you know what I mean? Most people don't know. You know what I mean? They don't understand, you know what I mean? What it is that and these are people that were born here, raised here, live here, you know what I mean, their whole lives. And these, man, I really want to get with you, man, to get with recruiting, man. We got to get these young people. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, if we can show them and teach them what it is that we've gone through to be here, man, maybe somebody put down the gun, man. Praise first, man. Right. Peace. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would love to come to one of your brothers' meetings, and you know, whenever you're hitting the streets too. So for sure.
Dr. Dennis, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I thought somebody else was saying something. I don't want to interrupt with that.
My bad. I might have cut somebody off, but you're up next.
Oh, okay. All right. So I just wanted to highlight how, so when I do discussions with Pan-Africans, and also as a professor, some of my students are Pan-Africans, I always explain that as Black people forced around the world, and particularly in white nations and nations that are predominantly Black that were based on white people still, I always explain that we have to teach and train our people how to exist on African lands. Because it's very common for Pan-Africans, Black nationalists, and African nationalists to brag about traveling to Africa. Most of our people don't even know how to travel to West India, Caribbean, Jamaica, without acting like a tourist. And they go to African lands and they're shocked at things like not having a traffic light, shocked at all sorts of basic things that they just don't understand the 5 centuries of brainwashing. They think that it's automatic, that disappears just because you get on the plane, and they don't understand the viewpoints of people. Black people forced in USA are viewed very different than Black people who are forced in Canada and around Europe. It's a completely different cultural basis. We are the largest population of people who had Africa forced out of us, whereas Black Canadians, Black Europeans have still kept that African foundation more than Black people in USA, which is why I always teach and train Black folks. Do not think that you're automatically going to show up on African lands or in West Indies and not look like a damn fool. There has to be ways that we teach and train our people to do this. And also, I just always want to remind our people of the origins of Pan-Africanism. It was never, over 150 years ago, it was never to tell all of us to go back to Africa. It's to develop our people everywhere around the world. Because if you ever falsely present Pan-Africanism, Black nationalism, as saying, everybody go back to Africa, we're going to leave most of our people behind. And that's exactly what the terrorist wants. The terrorist wants this false depiction that we're all going to escape and everyone's left behind. And I also want to remind people of what Black people in USA did to Liberia and still are doing. So when you look at the origins of tens of thousands of Black people migrating during slavery and so forth to Liberia, what happened to the native Liberians? Black people who came from USA were acting very much like the brainwashing of Europeans. A lot of native Liberians highlight that to this day. And there's a lot of writings about that. So that's why I always tell Black folk, there's a reason why when Black people talk about going back to Africa, they romanticize certain parts of Africa that have been presented to us mostly by white people. They don't highlight the parts that are not the same romanticized version of Africa. And so I really want Black folks to understand how Black folks have messed up Liberia and how native Liberians have still addressed that to this day. And lastly, I also want Black folks to remember Marcus Garvey did not visit Africa. There's a reason why when you see photos, you'll see representatives of UNIA in Africa, but Marcus Garvey photos are in America, Jamaica, and Europe. For whatever reason, perhaps not allowed, he was not in Africa. So those are just some things that I always want people to keep in mind, because to have these discussions and prepare for real life actions, it just has to be prepared on historical facts as well. That's all. Thank you.
Ashe. Real good points. Brother Haki, you want to close out before we let you go? Any closing remarks? I know we had you a little long.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate all of the knowledge and sharing that. That's the last sister. I appreciate that, certainly. Well, I'll just, say, ultimately, I mean, I appreciate wisdom from many different spaces. It keeps me sharp and thinking, as well as moving, but ultimately it's going to be about action. I'm not just one to talk. I'm a thinker, I'm a strategist, and that's what we must become. I mean, we have to look at ourselves like this is a war, right? And that it is. And if that being the case, if it's true, there are different tactics of how you move, right? For your very life, right? So, and that's, ultimately how, I think about the world. And so in terms of, my position on Africa, I want a global 1 billion army, to defeat all of Africa's enemies. And so I'm not going to do it with 40 million Black people who are here, and many have, various types of sociological, psychological problems that comes from living and being too close to Europeans. And so I feel that we can continue to have that balanced strategy of, for what it's worth. I mean, and I don't want to appear that, like I'm doing all my work here, but, because definitely you'll see me doing much work here, but it's also about positioning and knowing that you only gonna perceivingly rise, but so much within this society. And so ultimately it's about building global Black power wherever we are, even like the sister said. So I appreciate everything, brothers and sisters. So I look forward to, meeting you all and sitting down and building. And it's not for me about just reading stuff no more. It's about working, right? So, I'm not encouraging everybody to read all the books, that I did. You don't have to. Just let's get to work. Let's think. Let's strategize. Let's build something. Let's build some institutions. So thank you, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, my brother. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
We about to hit our member share, but I just want to add that I do believe as Africans, we all should try to go home to see our motherland. But remember, the first aim and objective in the UNIA is confraternity, to have a confraternity globally around the diaspora. So, for those that don't feel the need to go, it's still your duty wherever you're at. If you're here, if you're in Jamaica, if you're Liberia, if you're in Panama, wherever you are as Black people, it's our goal as Garveyites to create a confraternity, a fraternity. So when our people travel, they have a safe haven to go, they have a place to fellowship. So I think that should cover what everybody's saying. Like you said, Marcus Garvey didn't go to Africa. I still think we all should try to make a visit to our motherland and claim some kind of cultural history there. But if you're doing with the work here, make the safe haven for our people across the world. So when they come to our area, that they have a peace of mind and know what's going on and have some people to connect with. I think that's real important. Thank you all for a lot of your input. That was a very good build. We're gonna hit member share, Brother Bruce. If everybody could limit yourselves to maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Brother Bruce, you can go through the list.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Ms. Davis, how you doing, ma'am? Did you want to share tonight? Ms. Son. Ms. Davis? Okay. Mama Earth, did you want to share tonight, ma'am?
Yes, peace and blessings again. I first want to thank everyone for accepting me in the position as Lady President and head of the Black Nurses. I can't say how honored I feel. And I pray that I will present myself effectively on any title that I hold, with loyalty and absolute devotion. Again, I thank you and I appreciate it. And forgive me for not attending the meeting last night, because last night I thought it was for new recruits. I should have reached out to Everett and get more information, but I thought it was for new recruits, so I didn't tune in on there, but I wish I did, because I do have CPR equipment here. I have CPR, first aid, AED equipment. It's not a real AED machine, which is an electronic defibrillator. I have like a simulated one to teach people in the event a medical emergency should happen. So I have all those. I have a lot of equipment here, and I just need to get with you, Everett, to find a date or when to meet up with those who were in attendance in the meeting last night. That's all I really wanted to say. I look forward to building with the organization and growing and making some necessary change within self and then in the community. Thank you.
I apologize, President and First Lady President. I apologize. I couldn't get off of mute. I couldn't. But I don't have anything to share. But
Mishawn, hold on. I just wanted to let everybody introduce. Just remind everybody, Sister Yvette is our new Lady President, and Narcissa Mishawn is now our agricultural person. So she's taking on as agricultural coordinator. So now that we really want to focus on building that garden, building our garden, and focusing on our farm. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew your new positions. Go ahead, Mishawn. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
And yes, and congratulations to your new positions, everyone who's online today. And yes, I'm glad to take on this role. That's my passion. Honestly, I'm into the community a lot. And I'm into my business, and growing the garden for the UNIA is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm looking forward to putting in the work in whatever place that we find. If the ground is not fertile, I have things here already ready to make sure our ground is fertile. I've got seeds that I've been collecting ready. I've got my first marijuana plant. I've got a grow tent. Is beautiful. I have seeds. Actually, I've got like maybe 15 seeds, and I'm going to start using it. So that's another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, but that's later on. I just started my first. It was a clone, and I've got 2 grow tents, and I plan on seeing what happens with that. And hopefully, because this is an industry that's out there, and if the UNIA can being a part of the marijuana industry, the medical part of it, the clothing part, anything that marijuana can do, it's a natural herb. And that's something that I'm working on right now. And also creating different types of compost out of eggshells, out of just using a lot of leaves and putting a lot of the pulp that I use when I juice. So I'm creating a lot of good soil. So I'm ready. I got pockets of soil ready. I can't wait to see what the spring is going to bring. And everything that I have is going to come, you know, it's all about the UNIA. My garden may be black peppercorn, but when it comes down to the UNIA, it is our garden. And you guys are welcome to come, receive anything that I have. And at any event, please come out. If you know that we're out there, please come out to the events that we're doing. It's all about collective work, building each other up. And I just think that even today's event was very successful. I believe the next events that we do, like the president was talking about at the theater, I'm all in. Whatever he wants me to do, I'll be right there ready to go. So thank you for this new position. That's my passion. I love it. Anything growing, planning, cooking, I'm all in. So thank you again, President Everett. Thank you, First Lady, and all the officers in the building tonight, on the Zoom tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that July new thing that you got is definitely banging. So that's gonna be a moneymaker.
That jollof stew, y'all should try it. Jollof stew, not rice. I did it differently. So D1 call, meals to go.
Yes. Go back to you, Brother Bruce.
Mr. Richard, give me a second. Let the Dr. Kenya speak first, and then I'll jump at you, sir. Dr. Kenya.
Thank you. All right, so just really, so just really quickly. So we do have the February medical cannabis event plan. And we have 2 April medical cannabis events planned. One, the February and April will be at Be More Green. I'll send you all the flyer after we create it. And the April one is at TNAT Holistic Wellness Center. And this one is actually based on reaching Black communities and then also reaching some medical and health professionals. So the issue we're addressing here, we're reaching people who are using marijuana. And we're also reaching people like myself who don't use it because we have issues of addiction on both sides of our families. So we're not doing that. But what we want people to understand is that there are actually chemicals in everything, including marijuana. And there are certain medications that should not go with marijuana. And there are people of certain ages who should not be taking cannabis, including if it's medical cannabis. So those are the kinds of things that we will discuss. And we also have posters and flyers that we will pass out. So I will send you all that information once we start advertising for that. And again, 2 of the events will be at Be More Green. The other will be at the TNAT Holistic Wellness Center. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, definitely hit me up with them. I want to put them on our website. I got to get that back updated. And I didn't forget you. I got some new Black Cross nurses. I promise I'm gonna call you and come to you this week. I promise.
Oh yeah, you're fine. I got you. Thank you.
I've been so busy, but I got you.
I know you have. Thanks.
All right, Brother Bruce. Secretary?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had to get myself unmuted. Sorry about that. Mr. Richards, is he still here? There we go. Mr. Richards, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
All right, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, I don't want anything, man. Sister Davis, it was nice to see you today, man. It was great to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time, so it was good to reconnect, to see you. Yeah, I was just going. No problem. I was just gonna mess with you. As soon as you said you had your first marijuana plant, the participants went from 12 to like 65.
I'm doing some things, I'm telling you, and I heard what you said, but mine is all organic, nothing added to it, and just some pure love. So let's see what we do with that.
Oh man, there's so many type of strands of cannabis now. We don't even know what's what anymore. It don't look like. What strain you got? You got cocoa butter or cotton candy?
They had an event in Baltimore, 1,000 clones for 1,000 homes. It was a gentleman that's a guru out of DC that provided it, and also doing classes every Friday and in person or through Zoom to teach growers how to actually grow it, to create their own soil. But I'm not doing the classes. So I just took the clone, and it's beautiful. I've had it for like it's going on like 8 weeks now. It's beautiful. It's doing exactly what it does. And it's awesome to know that I'm doing it. And then I have the seeds. So I have the seeds in pods right now, and I'm just waiting for the roots to grow, and then I'll put them in again in some soil and keep it moving. So I'm trying to connect with the seed, connect with the flower to understand it, to understand the characteristics of it. And that way I'll be able to grow it outside, grow it inside. I'm learning. So thank you for asking questions.
Hey, no problem, because there's like I said, I'm not joking. I mean, I'm making fun of it, but I'm really not joking. It's like it's like so many different strands of it, and then there's so many different mixtures. I'm just like amazed how many strands they came up with these days. And I mean, you said it's a clone of what? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm at with that,
It was a clone. I forgot. I have the name of it downstairs. I will run down and get it. Right. But again, I was trying not to listen to what they were saying, because I know how to grow flowers. I know how to grow vegetables. I know how to grow food. So everything that he was saying, I'm just not listening to it. So I took what he gave me. It was a gift. It was free. And I'm looking to see what I'm doing with it. I'm watching how it grows. And then I have the seeds, and then I'm going to multiply those and see what I do with it.
Bruce don't really care. He just want a sample. He gonna call it.
Don't worry, Bruce. Trust me. We're gonna have a party. July 1st, everyone. July 1st. July 1st.
You did a good job in that.
Yeah, when we open in the UNIA dispensary.
Don't worry, we're gonna have a machine.
Oh my!
It's gonna be a machine. You put your money in, you pull it out. That's it. Remember that. Invest in a machine.
Just be careful, because I don't think it's federally legal just yet, but still, it's
July 1st. July 1st. July 1st.
July 1st. Okay.
July 1st. So I'm preparing. It's nothing big. It's little. I started little, and I'm listening to because I work for the federal government. So I'm sure to believe me, I'm gonna make sure everything's legit on my end.
Most definitely.
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Kenya. How you doing, ma'am?
Listen.
I just want to highlight, I just said that I was doing 3 upcoming discussions, events about cannabis, and y'all didn't ask me no questions, and y'all didn't have no comments to make. So I just want our people to remember, I want Africans to remember, we can't celebrate any substance without also being prepared for health implications, because cannabis does harm many people. That's all I'll say. Thank you.
And I do have a degree in healthcare administration and health informatics. So I'm looking at all of those things to make sure that it will not affect us, but actually benefit us.
Okay, so Mr. Anthony, go ahead, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I just wanted to chime in on what you said about the many strains. It's crazy. I mean, I grew up in a marijuana country, right? And when I was a child, there were only 3 strains of marijuana. There was the common marijuana that grew anywhere all over the place. The one that you smoked and it made you hungry. Didn't give you no real buzz, just made you hungry. That was the common one. You had another one called lamb's bread. That was more potent, and they had another one that grew in sandy soil called the sensimilia. That's the one that didn't have no seeds. That's the first strain I know that didn't have no seeds. It's mind-boggling to me how they came up with all these different strains, man. It is mind-boggling, bro. I'm telling you. It was only 3 strains, man. 3 strains that I knew about as a kid coming up. And now
thousands.
yeah. And for the and there's another part to it also that, you know, not everybody smokes it. Some people, back home, we make cakes with it. We drink it as a tea. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always ingested, you know, by smoking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not everybody smokes it. You know, I know Rastas that don't smoke marijuana. You know what I mean? But they'll eat it and they'll drink it as a tea. Raise first.
Raise first, brother. Raise first. Mr. Cameron, did you have anything to share, sir?
No, sir. I just want to say I appreciate everybody coming tonight. You know, us getting together. This is a nation building, even though it may be small steps at a time. You know, this is going to hopefully pay off one day. So I just want to say I appreciate everybody coming, and I'm thankful for y'all. Race first.
Raise first, brother. Mr. Sham, Mr. Sham, did you want to share, sir? Dr. Sham?
Well, I can give you my website, which has a bunch of interesting things on it, including origin, history, law, research topics, you know, information. You can have groups, you know, pay study groups, you know. You have all that information on my website. I don't hear much about my website, and I'm not getting anything that I expect off of it yet, but I can still strive with it because that's what I have to offer. You know, the UNIA and CBP, I mean, they say they have to, they want our people's skills, talents, and intelligence. So I'll put forth my effort, but I don't know, it's not going nowhere. But I'll give you the website anyway. It's not helpful. USA Legislations People.bravesites.com. Not helpful. USA Legislations People.bravesites.com. Has 2 pros in it. Okay, peace and race first. Would you need would you like my phone number too with that?
I got a suggestion though, like the orientation sometimes, you know, drop in some of the orientations and sit in some of the orientations when new folks are coming in, and you know, that would be good. I try to send out the email that might help you to be able to pass the word on a little bit. You know, I guess try to get into a lot more meetings and stuff like that, study groups, stuff like that, you know. Definitely try to get into some study groups, different things like that. Maybe some events. You know, it's about marketing. It's just about marketing. It's not, I mean, that's just it. You got to market your website a lot more. You said you're marketing on Facebook, right?
Yes, I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Let me give you the phone number anyway, in case somebody find it easier to call me instead of going directly onto the site. Because some people, they like to talk to you about it before they even look at it. They feel they wasting their time looking at it if you can't talk much about it. My phone number is area code 1917 500 1699. 1917 500 1699 or 1718 373 2680. 1718 373 2680. Okay, peace and raise first.
Raise first, brother. Raise first, brother. Mr. Y'all, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you. Peace and blessings, guys. So I just wanted to chime in. I've been quiet for most of the meeting, you know, a little preoccupied, but I've been listening to the conversation of what's been going on, such as like marijuana and going back to Africa and Black history in America and stuff like that, diaspora and things like that, and the Kwanzaa events. And I just wanted to, you know, speak on like some things that I got going on too. Just recently, I was able to fill out my application membership for the UNIA Baltimore. So that's something I'm really proud. about, and I was able to finally get my little organization myself going. I called it the Children of Yah because I don't know if you guys know, but me, I have like two affiliations more. So I'm like a Rastafarian, but I'm also into African spirituality. And with my organization, I see how like the Black people have a special purpose in the world. But you have to look a little bit deeper, not in the, like books, but in the Mother Earth, because the Mother Earth is a Black woman. That's the true Mary that they want to hide from us. You know, the woman that got pregnant but never had sex. Yeah, the son got her pregnant with all the living creatures. That's a little secret I'm gonna tell you guys. But that's something I'm trying to, you know, make my little organization so I can preach and teach to other people. If you guys want to know more, since I'm working too, I can send my Instagram and my phone number in the chat so you guys can hit me up or follow my progress. I'm just starting, you know, I have to balance, you know, the work and my family life and all that stuff. But, you know, if you guys, you know, call me or text me, you know, that really motivate me. You know, the progress of the Black people also is on my mind every day, all day. You know, it's nice to just talk to people who are not co-workers, but like, you know, brothers and sisters in this journey of life. So that's all I got to say, you know, what's going on in my life now for the month of January. All right, thank you. Race first.
Race first, brother. Are you a member of the Rastafarian community, sir?
I want to say yes, but like where I live in Northern Virginia, I don't see that many. You know, I think I met a lady who was working at a Ross, who's a Rastafarian, and I was just going to start, you know, talking to her about, you know, what kind of stuff, you know, like I was telling her, you know, all that stuff that's going on in the 20th century, you know, that's a prophecy, you know that, right? You know how, like, you know, if you look at the Rastafarians, they say like Selassie is God, and like, you know, he's a reincarnation of Jesus. And I agree with some of that, but I looked a little bit deeper and I'm like, no, this guy right here, he's King David. And the whole continent of Africa is the land of Judah. And that guy who was fighting for us Black folks was fighting Goliath, who was Adolf Hitler, who was running Nazi Germany, who was, you know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff, you know, and like how God made a little King David, little guy with no like army, be able to use the Americans and British, who are the slingshot, in Russia, who is the rock, to shatter Germany, Nazi Germany, and Western Europe in the forehead. That's more than, this is not just like, oh, this history. No, this is prophecy. And where we're going in this century, this prophecy is about to be over. The people who own the planet in the beginning, they're about to own the planet back in the end. That's all I can say. But if you guys like add my number and follow me on Instagram, hopefully I can explain a little bit more so that you guys can understand. I don't want to, you know, sound like a little, but you know, I want you guys, like, I need to break it down just a little bit. You know, I need to pass this fish and bread to people so they can understand. You know, so yeah, I am, but I haven't met a lot of people, but I am part of the community.
Check.
And
Hey,
you
brother,
believe
y'all,
in God, right?
I'm sorry?
You believe in God, right?
I don't really believe, but I know a God. I don't like, well, if I believe is there, I really know God. Like, actually, I want to say too much, but like, God is right there everywhere. All that's all I can say.
Oh, truly, I believe God is everywhere and everything. Everything. I do.
Brother,
So
y'all, when did you fill out your ad?
I filled it out yesterday.
Okay, cool. Okay, perfect.
Brother, yeah.
Yes.
My name is Tony Anthony, Sergeant at Arms, UNIA. I'm a Rastafarian. I've been a Rastafarian. I had my locks. I don't have locks anymore. But I'm just going to friendly caution you about, when you speak of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, you don't call him a guy in the presence of other Rastas, because that is disrespectful. Okay? because we see His Imperial Majesty as a deity. So be mindful of when we speak of His Imperial Majesty in those terms. He is to be respected, just like Marcus Garvey is to be respected, just like Martin Luther King is to be respected, just like Malcolm X is to be respected, and others. So be mindful of when you speak of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, King of Kings, Lords of Lords, conquering Lion, tribe of Judah, elect of himself, light of this world, saying, bless.
Thank you very much, Elder. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Brother Bruce, I think it's
Yes,
Brother
sir.
Dwayne and then Brother Adoti.
Adoti. Brother Dwayne, did you want to share, sir?
Hello, is everyone here?
Raise first, brother.
Raise first. I just want to say peace and blessings to everyone, and I too am a Rastafari, so I want to give a bless up for that. And there are a lot of many mansions in Rastafari, just like Christianity in a sense. So you know, there's a lot of different beliefs. You know, it's not just one belief in Rastafari itself. But I want to give thanks to the brother Hakeem, I think his name was, for sharing, because there's a lot of good information that he shared. I'm really looking forward to learning more about the investment part in Africa, and give thanks for the meeting. Race first.
Raise first, brother.
Race first.
Right. Brother Adote. How you doing, sir? You're still on mute, sir. Yeah, it's still on mute.
Can't hear you, brother. Unmute yourself. Maybe you can't hear us either.
Brother Dote, can you hear me? Just put your hand in the air if you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, you're muted. You're muted. Still, yeah, it's not allowing you to get your vocals out, sir.
Okay.
There you go, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry I came late because I ran into so many things. Only one thing that is my concern, I mean many things, but one first is the membership. Is it growing or is it going down? Because if I remember the founding father, Marcus Garvey, his power was the number of people he gathered. Even though I know that, you know, with God and in spirituality, only two or three are required to turn the world upside down. Yet, in the environment we are, and the nature of the enemy, which I describe to be not a snake, but an octopus. The nature of the enemy, the power of the enemy, it makes me think that if we are not big in number, we are going to suffer, and our problem is going to be going worse and worse, from bad to worse. So membership and our means, including first and foremost money. Human resources is invaluable, it's okay. And if we are here, how about our means, starting with the funding? Those are my concern, and I will leave it here I don't need no answer here. I know everybody has answers that we can work with to solve the problem. But I will go into the detail if Brother Everett is okay. I will go into the detail with him during the week. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I mean, I know for sure that my coming is going to make a difference. I'm not bragging. Thank you.
I was just talking about you today to First Vice James, Brother Doty. So we definitely want to get with you to help push a membership back to where it was when Garvey was here. It's more different groups out now that use this philosophy, but you know, it's nothing like pushing to get our membership up. And and like you said, and helping us with your ideas with the funding. It's real important to get that in process. Some of the things that he was known for. So I appreciate you, and I look forward to our meeting this week.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Brother Bruce, I think that was it. Brother Tony, you got the word for the day, the phrase?
I sure do. Yeah, I have it sitting right here in front of me. And this is a direct quote from the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, right? He says, our success educationally, industrially, and politically is based upon the protection of a nation founded by ourselves. And the nation can be nowhere else but in Africa. Race first.
Race first. And on that, Brother Bruce, you have anything to share before we close out?
No, sir.
All right, and we'll close out with the anthem. Can y'all hear this? Let me know if you can't hear it, I'll redo it.
Ethiopia, thou land of our fathers, thou land where the gods love to be. A storm cloud at night suddenly gathers, all armies come rushing to thee. We must in the fight be victorious, when swords are thrust outward to gleam. For us will the victory be glorious, when led by the red, black, and green. Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free. Advance to meet the foe, advance to meet the foe, with the might of the red, the black, and the green, with the might of the red, the black, and the green. O Jehovah, thou God of the ages, grant unto our sons that lead the wisdom thou gave to thy sages when Israel was sore in need. Thy voice to the dim past has spoken, Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hand. By thee shall all fetters be broken, and heaven bless our dear motherland. Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free. Advance to meet the foe, advance to meet the foe, with a might of the red, the black, and the green, with a might of the red, the black,
All right, everybody, we are out of here. Race first.
Race first.
Race first.
Raise first. Later.
Later, Dr. Sam.
Africa for the Africans. Here, there, and everywhere.
I say, for those at home and those abroad.
For those race first.
Race first.
Good night, Mama Earth. Good night, Karen. Good night, Messiah. Good night, Brother Richard. Good night, Mr. Everett.
All right, I'm gonna hit you later, Brother Bruce. I'm about to jump on orientation study.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, okay.
I know, it don't stop. All right, all right.
Sure.